Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video. I was meaning to talk about this here that made our TV news for like a week or so now, but I talk about where hypocrisy is and everything, and I'm gonna address this one to be fair with everybody. Because this is a classic example about something that's unfortunate, very unfortunate that the police had to shoot somebody. And this is something that whether you're black or white watching, that when people drink, stuff they shouldn't do because unfortunately, it's their own fault. But anyway, and I'll tell you about hypocrisy, what they're doing with the races later in the video. But I will tell you one thing too, that I'll make a kind of a sarcastic remark too, that even though some of these here I can regard as a party of better people, because talking in parentheses that you won't, or why you won't, or you will never see, unlike the George Floyd protests and other kind of protests over where the people did mass damage in places that had nothing to do with it. This particular thing here, I'll tell you in advance before I showed you the article in front. You don't see any of these people going around protesting and putting this guy's face on a big banner and demanding people to worship him and yada yada. Well, I figure I'd get that dig in right now, because with shit like this, to be fair, and because I want to talk about this, because this was a white guy, but if you're a black or white watching, and just like the better black YouTubers that I subscribe to out of spite, a list of the better black YouTubers that are against all that, the BLM coldest bullshit. This is a white guy, and if you're white or black watching, but anyway, this particular deal here was okay. Supposedly, family just moved in or something, and they were having a birthday party for their kids with a bunch of kids. Okay, and well, the guy was drinking. Okay, and in parentheses too, talking in parentheses too, I'll go ahead and say, in the news article that I saw on the TV news, but I'm showing you the internet article. The wife or whatever, she's crying her eyes out. Oh, he was a good person and yada yada. And I'm not disagreeing that he probably was a hell of a nice guy. No different than any guy that was black who in the same situation. Situations there's both white people or black people somewhere that did shit like this. Some of them make the news and some of them don't. Where I'm making my point. So anyway, alcohol does do strange things to some good people. Sometimes alcohol makes people nicer and they like everybody, but sometimes some people are better off. They're good people. They're better off not drinking alcohol. This is why. Anyway, the guy goes and introduces himself to the people over there at the birthday party, a bunch of kids. While he was drunk, he was drinking. And well, there are people both black and white, I think, drink a little bit at people's parties that come from different backgrounds, and I'm just saying this doesn't always happen, but bad incidents too, it goes bad, and this is how it went bad. Well, I guess the guy, when he was drinking, he was probably a nice guy, like the wife was crying, oh, he was a nice guy, they didn't have to shoot him. But, introduced himself to, he was drinking. Evidently, he was being a little bit too, shall we say, lewd or something, because there was kids, young girls, people's wives, and different things, and he was making certain people uncomfortable or whatever the hell, and he was asked to leave. Okay, and he wouldn't have done well while he was drunk. Okay, but he was asked to leave. He left. So the guy returns with a gun. Okay, and what were the cops supposed to do? I mean, you're drinking or whether you're not drinking, you don't get asked to leave at a party where there's a bunch of kids, right? Too. Whether you're drinking or not drinking, you don't get asked to leave and then leave, right? And then come back with a firearm. That's like a danger to people. Say, even though when the guy's sober or whatever, maybe he was a hell of a guy. But that was dangerous situation, and say, well, whether the cops, if they want to, from a distance, can say, hey, dude, please drop the gun. I don't want to shoot you, if they see fit. But, when a guy's under influence of anything and he don't drop the gun like he is ordered, because he was in an environment where there's kids. He had no business being there when he was told to leave. What the hell were the cops supposed to do? You know what I mean? And somewhere there's probably somebody that was black. A very similar situation, because so many shit like this comes all over the world. And there's hypocrisy. Oh, about so-and-so did something and it was like a race thing. And I have friends, both black and white, and bosses that had authority me in places I've worked, both black and white, and friends. And I had friends that were also black, of the particular wisdom that we agreed that we should watch what we do, watch our whereabouts, so we don't get accused. You know what I mean? I have people both black and white that we agree, different beliefs, religious beliefs, and mixed beliefs like I have, that we live your life so you can't be accused. You see somebody else the same color as you or in different colors you doing something stupid, whether they got shot by police, whether you call it this or that, it's your priority, whether you're somebody black or white watching, to learn from that and live your life so you can't be accused, and worry about your own friends and your own family first before you go doing any kind of like protesting or all kind of shit like over somebody that you don't even know in places that have nothing to do with it. But here's where I'm going with the rest of this too, if you're paying attention. This particular guy that got shot, his wife's all crying. You're not going to see any of them putting his face on a big banner, right? And a bunch of people marching, smashing storefronts, and for certain people, unfortunately, even a peaceful protest, there's crackheads, both black and white, and different people like degenerates that are going to join in with that and use it as a vehicle to do damage and robberies and different things like that. This particular, there's a difference, and I'm not at all saying, black people or white people were better than each other. As a matter of fact, if it's any consolation, there is black people that know this, that are better than other black people that don't do this shit. And you're going to see people that are like the family of this particular guy that got shot. You're not going to see him putting his face on some banner and then going on Good Morning America and making fucking demands that everybody else should do this or that that's watching TV, and tell people that are watchers of the TV what they better do, or that they should read their silly books to avoid being racist and have it dictated to you, and that innuendo of, don't you go living your life doing your own thing and living your own life and ignoring us, or we're gonna do something about that someday. We're working on it, those kind of people too. But I'm just saying the difference. Don't even fucking dare try to say I was trying to say white people are better than black. There's two couple different classes of white people and better classes of black people too. And like I said too, some of us have friends that are both black and white that agree on seeing things happen and watching what we do, and trying to warn our friends, both black and white, to watch out for your whereabouts. Don't worry about anybody else. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that something happens, but I'm just talking about the hypocrisy that some people will go on and on about shit like it. Some people that start a big thing and you're still hearing about it, and then some people have family members that got shot by the police, and they don't go through all that shit. Just like that I'll make a sarcastic remark too, even though this is a dead horse. If you're still with this video, this was a bunch of years ago. It made our news. A Somalian immigrant that was a partner of a white that become a police officer. Right, he was the partner of his partner was white. Yoga instructor made the mistake of reporting something that went on, right, and being outside, where it happened to police, and the guy that was a Somalian immigrant didn't just shot her without assessing the situation good enough, and eventually the partner, in the long run, I think the white cop that was the partner rolled on him or whatever. But when I saw that whole thing on YouTube, different stories about the YouTube, and the Australian yoga instructor's family was demanding justice and all that. And I found an article later, supposedly, I look it up, that I guess they eventually prosecuted him too. But I saw troll comments. I don't know if these people were really black or just trolls, troublemakers pretending to be black. You can judge for yourself. I showed pictures on all kind of social media and all kind of places, YouTube, different places. Oh yeah, that she was delighting in her death because she was a bad white person, and saying she was probably on drugs, this and that. How evil! It might have been even trolls who's pretending to be black people to cause trouble. To be fair, and then I made when I made little videos exposing the belligerent remarks, there was people, trolls, whoever they were pretending to be, whether they really are who they were, made troll comments on the little video when I was exposing the stuff. Oh, fuck all white flesh and shit like that. It could have been a white guy troll pretending to be black, or those belligerent type of people that happen to be black. Maybe it was too, leaving the doors open either way to leave others decide without but I'm bringing that up too because of the hypocrisy, even though it was a dead horse. When somebody gets shot by cops, no matter who it is, it's always about them, and it's always about them and their people. And then when one person gets shot, it's like if it's race related, or we're supposed to be race related, you notice that society and the media likes to pick and choose whom they tell you to care about who got shot by the police. You know what I mean? I'm not saying black people are better than white people, but there are people that it's all about them. If somebody else gets shot by the police, nobody cares. Even if some of them did it, and there was police shootings that people that were black that I agree were wrong because they get somebody on a SWAT team gets the wrong address and shoots them dead. And I actually have a theory that the real drug dealers that were also black in a situation where what's that? The hell is their name? Taylor or whatever. My theory is that there are drug dealers that were also black, right? That do this shit on purpose and so that the police get the wrong house. Maybe a little bit of corrupt police too. A diversion, shoot the wrong person as a diversion. You know what I mean? So there's people that are both black or white watchers should take that into account, especially the better black YouTubers that I listen to. I can tell a friend of mine that's black right now that I have friends that are black that I've got some pretty good convictions and ideas, just like myself, that we both agree with each other. Yeah, we're more righteous folks that are more, shall we say, critical thinkers, and we both agree that, somebody would deliberately try to do that shit to us if we get a chance, trying to say to go after some real criminal out there and conveniently get the wrong house, and you could be conveniently dead, so you got to watch your whereabouts. You're outspoken and critical about the wrong things. So yeah, if you're black and you think like that, then you're a friend of mine. Put it that way. Consider yourself a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there'll be people. Yeah, it don't matter if you're black or white. You have some people of your own kind will want to set you up that way, or they're looking for you to get drunk and screw up. You know, or there are some people who already say you're an alcoholic and a drug addict, and whether you drink or not, and spread that shit around. To be fair, so I'm just saying, different kind of articles out there. You know, I'm gonna throw some there. I'm giving you an incentive to search different articles, both white or black people that got shot. Some people, black and white, were mistakes, and some of them mistakes on the side of the cops, and some were mistakes that the person that was both black or white made and brought it on themselves. Just saying, you know. Yeah. Yeah, the world is full of different kind of people, you know. So many people to make a world, ain't it? You know what I mean? But I could go on and on about that, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's just about it, you know. But yeah, I'll leave you with that comment, you know what I mean, too, that, yeah, no matter who gets shot by the police, all these special interest groups, it's always about them. They don't give a damn about the other person that gets shot by the police, whatever, you know, they got double and triple standards. And they have the nerve to start a $1 million marches and organizations, and tell you that just because somebody got shot by the police, that you've got to give them money, and they're driving around with fancy cars. They become a religion, a cult, a religion, a religious cult that ain't necessarily religious, and put somebody's face on a banner, and so figure, you know. But the better people are the ones who had families that got shot by the police that don't do that shit. And the ones that have more common sense, I say to them, I'll make a video about this later, too, that I should. Whether you're black or white watching this, you had a family member that was shot by the police. And instead of falling in that trap to get a bunch of money, you actually, I think other black YouTubers should talk about this, too. You had that family member did get shot, whether it's by accident, by mistake, or some way. You should actually tell these organizations and exercise your right to not consent to have our faces put on a banner, the right to say cease and desist, you know what I'm saying? You should have the right to have and maintain control and maintain your say in whether people should be used this person's likeness or face or likeness to make money. They'll say they're doing it for this family member, and meanwhile they'll line your pockets with maybe $20 or $30 or $50,000, or maybe $1 million. And meantime, they're making multi-millions. They become an organization, and they're using that person's face like as a martyr. And yeah, they put a little bit of money under your nose, right? And I think the Fullerton Informer guy, Joe Imbriano, talked about this. The implied consent. Yeah, say you had a family member that got shot. Whatever reason you figure it was wrongful. Some people should have the right to be able to legally and get a lawyer and withdraw a certain special interest group's right or privilege to use that face and likeness, because that's what they want to do. They'll take that emotion of a dead family member like a bad voodoo spell and misuse. They want your permission to use this dead family member's likeness, if you will, you know, like some devil. You know, I have beliefs of my own of I call it a mixture of medieval mysticism mixed with the occult and Christianity. My mother, even though I haven't talked to my mother in years, she hung in churches that were both black and white churches that were real crazy with that speaking in tongues and what do you call it? The falling down on the floor. But yet, even though I make fun of it, I can't stand a extreme version of that. It taught some of us to be, I want to call it positive, practical superstition. That if you look at things on the news, everything from Bohemian Grove to people that put, a face on there, whether it's George Floyd or whether a white guy, black, anybody gets shot, they put a face on there. You can argue that some of them might be a manipulative bad voodoo spell to control people, turn somebody into an idol. And matter of fact, that the dead man's face that they use for that idol to control other people, he's dead. He don't got no say to give permission to use his likeness or image either, but the family's likeness too. Oh, and they do that for Jesus' face too. Jesus ain't here to give his permission for that likeness. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that are not very good they say to do in the name of Jesus or anybody, any kind of dead icon. Fuck, you know what I mean? But that's a little extra information for you that I do a whole video about. And there's certain people on YouTube that didn't cover this that I would say to cover it. I would tell them to cover it, you know what I'm saying? And certain black YouTubers that had backgrounds and experience and associations with certain things did. Yeah, there's some very voodoo-like elements going on with the shit people pull over whether it's somebody shot by the police or whatever they are, to manipulate the minds of other people and create hysteria, fear, resentment, violence and vandalism and everything else. Yeah, how come what other way can you explain it? That a whole bunch of people go batshit crazy and just destroy. And then our current president didn't lift a finger to say a word to condemn any of that. Patronizing one thing, but just saying, you know what I mean?